Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Pat Coffey, and welcome to the International Association of Wood Carvers.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the International Association of Wood Carvers. Today is the 9th of November, 2024, a little bit after 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I appreciate you all always coming in on Saturday afternoons to support carvers and help promote caricature carving. So thank you for joining us today. Today on our meeting, I've got a friend of mine who's coming on, Pat Coffey. He's going to be doing a demonstration for us on carving on the corner. So we look forward to Pat's presentation. Before we get started, though, I'll tell you a little bit about what's coming up. On the 23rd of November, I've got Tom Parr that's coming in. He carves miniatures, so he's going to be coming in. He's from the UK. He'll be on next week, so I look forward to his meeting. On the 30th of November, I saw my friend Chris Brickle that's in our meeting today. He's going to be coming on and telling us his story, talk about his journey. It's quite the journey, and if you all get a chance, tune into that. Look forward to hearing from Chris. On the 7th of December, we're going to be off because I'm teaching a class down in North Carolina at the barn down there, so we won't have a meeting on the 7th. On the 14th, Jim Feather's going to come back with us. He's going to do a demonstration. Jim's one of the more popular presenters that we've had so far in the past, and he's going to come on with us. And then we're going to round out the year 2024 with Jim Heiser. Jim Heiser is going to come on December the 21st. He'll be our last meeting of the year. I'll be working hard to try to schedule some people for January, but that will be the last one that we have for 2024 because after that we'll have Christmas and then New Year's. And then we'll slide right back into January, more meetings. So like I said a few minutes ago, Pat Coffey is going to be on with us today. Before I get started with Pat, I'm going to find Dave Stetson on here real quick. And we're going to turn it over to Dave for our words of wisdom. So Dave, I'll go ahead and turn it over to you.
Word today for all the struggling carvers. Guys and gals who feel that their carvings are failures, let you know that no carving is a failure. It's an experiment, a lesson or inspiration for the future. Always something to be learned from everything we create.
All right, Dave, thank you for that. We appreciate that. And we always look forward to your words of wisdom. We appreciate your support of the International Association of Wood Carvers. I know you've been here with us for many years, and I just want to say thank you, my friend, for coming on each week and sharing these words of wisdom with us. Before we get to Pat Coffey, a couple other things. Dwayne Gosling's got a class coming up November the 12th, carving a babushka Santa. Sorry, that's hard for me to say. Dave Stetson is going to have a class on November the 16th, carving a caricature bear. On December the 10th, Dwayne will have another class on Vic the Viking. And then again, January the 11th, Ryan Olson has a class coming up, which is usually very popular, carving hunks and hotties. So if you're interested in any of those classes, like I always say, reach out to the instructor. Get a hold of them, find out what you got to do to get signed up, get the money over to them, find out if you need a rough out or what the pattern is going to be, and be prepared to take advantage of all of the learning opportunities there that you have with these live classes. One other thing I heard from a friend of mine that's doing Carvers for a Cause, and I don't know if everybody has seen that on Facebook, but there's a group out there that's been made to help support the people who have had destruction from Hurricane Helene. What they're trying to do is they're trying to raise money for these people in this area, and it's in this region that I'm from, that are still struggling with lodging, housing, clothes, food, those kinds of things, because during the floods, their houses were washed away. They lost everything that they had. It's still an active process here, even though you don't hear it on the news much. It's still going on. So they started a site to try to help promote people to donate to help those people. What they want you to do is to make a donation and then show proof that you made a donation by a receipt on that page. And periodically, every so often, They go out and put things available out there that's going to be given away based off the donations that have been taken in. So you'll get your name entered into the drawing. There's quite a few prizes out there. And again, it just encourages people to donate and participate in raising money for those people affected by Hurricane Helene. So if you get a chance, go out and check out their Facebook page. It's Carves for a Cause, and I think they'll appreciate that. Having said all that, again, on today, Pat Coffey's coming to us. He's been on here before. Today, he's going to be talking to us about carving on the corner. So, Pat, I will go ahead and spotlight you and turn it over to you, my friend.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good now.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Blake, Dave. Dave's words of wisdom dovetail right into what I talk about. These are all experiments that I do. And not all are good. So it's a fun way. They're small. It's a block of wood. I think these are 2 by 2 by 4 that I split in half. I got a jig that I worked up on in the shop, and you just cut them and start working at it. What I've done in the past is, and they all turn into fridge magnets, or some people actually make I guess bolo ties or neckerchiefs out of them. But I did a cop, Civil War guy, pirate. Jonathan Creason does these online. And I've experimented, of course, Santa Clauses. Everybody's done the Santa Clauses over the years, and you can find plenty of videos on them. Did a baseball player. Figured I'm down in North Carolina. Atlanta Braves might be popular, but go figure, it wasn't. So he sat on the shelf. What I've also started doing is experimenting on other things. So I guess originally I started with, like I said, picking out a worker, cowboy, hillbilly. And then from there, I've started, I'll go on to Pinterest and look for different faces. And I just either Pinterest or Google caricature faces, character expressions, and they come up with some stuff to try. So I go out and carve a little bit of goofiness, different expressions. Again, it's practice. This guy, a little bit, not your norm. Long face, little ears, little eyes, but fun. This one I enjoyed because I tried doing braids, but I also, Dave Stetson had talked about carving the inside of the mouth there in the uvula. I said, oh, let me give that a shot. And it was fun. Like I said, they're not all keepers. Here's, I tried to do a Viking with a braided mustache. Didn't come out too well. Another goofy face with glasses, and not so much, but they're going to go in a pile for my grandkids, and they get to paint them up and have fun. What I thought we'd do today is a mix of the two. So he's just a little chubby guy, mustache, cute little expression, small ears. So we'll give that guy a shot.
Hey, Pat, before you get started, there's a question in the chat already.
Sure.
What's the best way to safely cut a 45 if somebody wants to do these?
What I had done was followed Bart Wilson. I think he's got a video out there on YouTube that tells you how to make a jig. And I want to say Dennis Stallings also had one. So there's plenty of resources out there on how to build one. And I'm not the most handy guy when it comes to shop work. I can get it done, but it looks like I got it done, not like a professional. But it does the job. It's not perfect, but it gets, it cuts it close enough. Since you're going to be hacking it up anyway, it gets you where you need to be. So you want to switch on down? I'll go over here.
Okay. There you go.
All right, thank you. So I'm going to try just quick pencil lines, which sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But for today, I'm going to try and get those ears up here. And we'll go from there. So one of the first things I do is just cut off the edges since it's so thin. Give yourself a little bit more meat to work with on the corners.
And Pat, do you know of anybody who already sells wood that's cut into a triangle, so maybe they don't have a bandsaw or something?
I don't. I haven't seen that anywhere. Have you?
Not off the top of my head. Maybe More Wood may have them. That might be the only one that I'm aware of. If anybody else knows, you can put it in the chat or unmute.
So I'm just going to start marking where I want the ears to be so I don't hack them off. And I'll try and put them relatively in the same spot on the other side. You can make them as big, as small as you want. Oh, let me get this back in frame here. I'm sorry. When I say the experiments that I've learned from more, I guess is the way Dave would put it, that I've learned off the experiments, and they go to the grandkids, they think it's the best thing in the world. So it's a win-win for them, win-win for me. But like Dave said, you try and try and learn something from your mistakes. I'm just going to mark in the top of the bill. And this is just roughing in. I usually start with anything that I'm doing with the hat. I usually start up there. And that gives me some proportion to work from. Of course, we're coming into Santa Claus season, so I'll probably be doing a lot of them in the next couple of weeks, like everybody else. And this is just a Pete Ortel soft V, Denny D, soft V. And just trying to get the general shape in there. And the bottom. And pretty much the first couple of minutes is just blocking in. I'll get the general shape. Hopefully without hacking off the bill of the ball cap. Let's see. I think I screwed that up. Let me do that. I'll bring the ears down here. And I'm going to try and sort of block in here the ears and the side of the temple. And I'll mark in the bottom of the nose.
Hey, Pat, what is that knife you're using there?
This is a OCCT Mike Shipley, I believe. I was told Mike Shipley made it when I picked it up in Colorado. I guess 2 months back now. Can you see this all right? Is light good enough?
Yeah, I think you're good.
All right. And I'm one of those guys that just bounces around. As I start carving, things start coming into shape or out of shape. And I try to come back in and work on it at that point. So I guess generally now, got the bill of the hat, the nose, the 2 ears are sitting out a little bit. Got the jowls and the bottom of the face. I come up here and take a little notch off the bottom of the nose of the wing, the nostril area. And I'll try and give him a little swoop up there. I'm going to define the bottom of the hat and the beginning of the face a little bit more.
Recording in progress.
Let's see. I'm just going to come with the U-gouge. I'm going to come up here from the side, noses, just to mark it in a little bit. And I didn't come all the way down. And then I'm just going to do the eye channels a little bit, and put them in place. So I've sort of got the ears marked in, but now I'm also going to put in his sideburns here. And I'll take them up also. And we're further marking in the side of the face.
I've had another question in the chat. They want to know what's the hardest part of the face to learn for you?
For me, it's still the eyes. I can hack them out, and sometimes I work at them harder than others. But for me, it's trying to find different expression. The CCA book that was put out a couple of years ago, The Eyes Have It, is great. All different ways of doing it. Unfortunately, for me, I'm like the squirrel in the nut. Ooh, look at that. Let's try that one. Which is great for these things because you can pull out the book and say, let me try a Kevin Applegate eye or a Brake Lunsford eye and see how it comes out for you, and then come up with your own style. And that's sort of what I do with a lot of these things is just play and see what I can come up with. But for me, the eyes still, after all these years of carving, trying to get the right expression is the hardest part for me. And I don't have a set eye that I do all the time. It's a lot of it again is like as you're carving, especially on something like this where you don't have an idea so much as just I'm going to carve a figure or an expression. and you try and either copy it off the internet, the picture, or you just got something in your head, and it's just, you just keep on working at it, and whatever works for you ends up being the right one for that piece. If that makes any sense. All right.
And Pat, you're pretty active on Pinterest. You've got a lot of your carvings out there. If people want to go out and view them, they can see them out there, right?
I do. I think it's Pat Coffey _, if that's the right word. Crane Creek Carvings. Since I live on Crane Creek, so that sounded like a really good idea for me. Let's see, do I want to do this yet? Nah, not yet. I'm going to start marking in the nose a little bit. So what I do, I've got a nice big wide nose. You can always take it down, but I'm not going to go up. I'm sort of go meet where the wing is and come down just a little bit, and then underscore the bottom here and sort of notch it in. So it's defining the face more. But I haven't committed on the nostrils of the, going over to the upper side of the wings of the nose yet. The nice thing about that Pinterest page is it's got some of my old stuff in there. And at least for me, I can see the evolution of my carvings. I think I've gotten better over the years. We had an open house at my my local club last month, the Davidson County Woodcarvers, and we had everybody just brought in their wares, and the local community came in and walked by. You could buy some stuff if you wanted, or just see what we were doing. But we also had a section of our table for some of our early stuff, and trying to promote for the club, saying, hey, this is where we all started, and this is where we've ended up over the years. So I think that's a pretty cool idea, because we all start at the same spot. All right, let's see. I'm going to take this up a little bit into the wing of the nose. And just mark it just a little bit. That can still come down if I wanted to. And that's relatively. Nice big fat nose to work from still. One of my first instructors, when I was still living up in New York, we used to have Pete Ortell down, or not Pete Ortell, Pete, I got to carve with Pete once. The other Pete, Pete LeClaire, I got a couple of classes with him. And at least in my mind, Pete was famous for big noses. And I've always liked them. Sort of putting in the smile line / mustache. I'm going to stick that up here, up here. And when I've got a mustache or a smile, I like to take a little divot out of the cheek here.
Hey, Pat, we were talking before meeting that you just recently retired. I'm sure people will be wondering, will you be teaching any classes around? I know you taught at the barn down there in North Carolina not long ago.
I did. I taught over there for the summer. I am retired, so I have a little bit more free time on my hand, and I would enjoy to teach a little bit more. We'll see. Hopefully, I can do that. I still got to work on a couple of roughouts. I got one that I taught at the barn. I was a Santa. I got decent feedback on that. Come up with a couple of more.
Another question, they want to know how long you've been carving and what made you want to start?
I started carving around 1989, 1990. I was in the service. We were getting ready to deploy on a boat, Navy ship, for about 6 months on what we call the Westpac, Western Pacific. And everybody was picking up hobbies to do something on the boat. This is the time before internet. We all had snail mail, and we had VHS tapes to watch movies. So a buddy of mine had gotten into it. He got me into it. And I think we carved once on the boat, the whole 6 months. But I liked it well enough that when we came back, I kept at it a little bit. I was pretty active in the 90s. That's when I was taking my classes up north. I was involved with a couple of clubs on Long Island. And somewhere around the end of the 90s, beginning of the 2000s, life got busy. Work, family, and it would go by the wayside. Like a lot of us, when things get busy, this sort of goes to the wayside. And it sat on the shelf in the basement. It would look at me, whisper to me, come on over here and do this. And I felt guilty, but eventually got back to it. More so when I moved down here to North Carolina. And I moved down here in 2016 and been pretty much carving nonstop since then. And I think that's the key. I've taken a lot of classes, gotten to one renegade so far. And to me, the classes, whether they're on Zoom or live and, with the instructor, I get so much benefit out of it. Did that answer that question? I know was there a two-part question there? I know it was.
Yeah, just how long you've been carving and what made you want to start?
Yeah, it was, let's do it on the boat as a hobby. And then the guy who got me into it, there was a shop in California, and he was a Santa carver. So I was just fascinated with them. I thought they were great. I couldn't tell you who he was, but I was impressed. So that was my intro into it. All right, so we've got the mustache sort of blocked in, rough. The nose is blocked in. So I'm going to go ahead and start working on the eyes. Let's see. Got a little bit smaller number 9. And I'm just taking them in a little bit right along the bridge of the nose.
If you'll move it back up towards the table just a bit, Pat. There
Yep.
we go.
Sorry about that. All right. So this is another number 9, I guess. Is this a 9? Yeah. Smaller size. I couldn't tell you what size any of these are, but if they've got a mark on it, a 9 or 11, that I can tell you. Again, I just sort of look for the tool that will do the job. And what I'm doing now is trying to define the inside of the eyes. And I'll define a little bit more, redefine the nose a little bit. It's rough, but we're getting there. All right, so for the eyes, I do try to, especially if I'm going to work on a different type of expression, I try to put them in ahead of time. So that's the top, and hopefully you can see that a little bit. And since he's got a smiling face to him, what I try and do is mirror the bottom eyelid with this, and then tuck it up under here. I've been doing these for a while and worked on them again with, I took a class this past weekend with Kevin Applegate, and we worked on these a little bit more. So if they come out good, Kevin did a great job. If not, I guess it's me. I need more instruction. And I'm going to take them in just a little bit further again on the inside. Curve the top. A little curl at the swirl outside the temple. Sitting here blowing, and I'm blowing into the phone that's sitting on top of the carving here.
And Pat, I'll advertise your last meeting that you had with us. You came on and talked about your finishing process and several different ways that you can finish carving. So if people haven't seen that video, they need to go out and check it out on our YouTube page out there.
Just like eyes or any sort of wood carving, it evolves over time, but I kind of think I'm doing relatively the same stuff. But again, this is another way, a cheap way to experiment. I mean, this block of wood in my hand probably cost me $1. So you experiment on the face, you experiment on expressions, and then painting and antiquing techniques if that's what you want to try. The ones I just showed you, let's see, this guy right here, he's one of the last ones I had done. He was done, I got the Wood Carvers Illustrated, the latest edition, and Rich Weatherby talked about water-based gel stain. And I've always been using the oil-based, the aged oak Minwax. And so I actually had it on my shelf. I must have tried it way back when. So it's the walnut gel stain. He mixed it with a little bit of water. And that's what I had done originally. And in the article, he talked about adding a little bit of black. The key to any antiquing or finishing is you got to have it sealed really well. And I used to do 2 coats, 3 coats. I'm up to about 6 coats of sealing now before I start putting any antiquing on. And it seems to help, but even at that, I miss some spots. So if you think you've done it enough, do it one more time.
When you seal your carvings, Pat, do you use like a lacquer or a def spray? What do you usually use?
Last time I used, I haven't found Krylon in a while, or Deft. I've been using the stuff out of Walmart. I think it's Rust-Oleum matte finish, extra lacquer. I think Dave Stetson had talked about it in one of his online courses. And it gives it a nice shine. It's almost very shiny when you're done coating it. And that might be user error. But by the time you've put all the the antiquing on it, it tones it down. It's just got a nice little shine to it. So that's what I've been using recently, is out of the Walmart, and I can post exactly what it is after the fact and put it out there for everybody. So the eyes, I'm going to do the lower one now. And on the outside, on the inside, I took out a chip. Now on the outside, I'm going to take out a chip also. Sorry about that.
And Pat, I know you've been out to Colorado Springs to the CCA show out there a few times. Can you give a little pitch for that? I know there's a lot of people probably on this meeting that's never been there, and we'd sure like to have them out there with us.
Absolutely. The best thing you could say about it, or not the best, but for me, it was just fun. I've got all these Facebook friends. We all comment each other on our carvings, and you get to meet people and chat them up. And you know, then they really become friends, not just Facebook friends. So if you want knives, the tools, I mean, I picked up tool knives out there, the OCC, and this is another one of my favorites now. Shush, I'm carving, Badger State. It's a great knife. Just if you need anything, you'll find it at the CCA, and I did not stay this year for the classes. I went to the first one, and they had the classes incorporated to the weekend show. But then you're in the class, you're not get a chance to shake hands and meet people. So it's a double-edged sword. Hopefully next year I'll be able to get to a class or two after the fact. So, but they had the whittling contest, which I really enjoyed. That was fun.
And I believe this year coming up, it's the 20th and 21st of September. If anybody's wanting to go ahead and make plans to put that on their calendar and start getting reservations and stuff. Nothing like planning early. So
I'm hoping to get back again, of course. I don't get to too many things. I live just outside of Charlotte, so I get to the Charlotte show, the CCA, and that's kind of it. I really haven't been out to too many other venues. I had hoped to make the Big Stone Gap this past year, but it happened just after the CCA, and I couldn't get the time away. All right, let's see. I'll shape up this nose a little bit more. And you can just play with that and see what profile looks good, you know. Underneath, I'm just going to soften it. And there's a couple of different ways you could do the nose. For me, this works best for me. Just cut underneath and cut under. And you still got, you can see I guess it's the septum underneath in the middle. And once I've got that there, I can come back with a small gouge and put more of a shadow in. I've used the other way, let's see, is to take another, say, a number 7 gouge and jam it in here, and then come up and take that for the nostril. And it works great if you catch it right. And for me, I've screwed it up. I've come too high. The nostril's broken off. So what works best for me is just coming in and using a knife and then just supplementing it with a small U-gouge. As long as I got a 7 in my hand, I'm going to come in here and define the wings of the nose just a little bit. Since he's smiling, I'm going to come down and sort of an extra smile line. Accentuates the cheek and brings up a little bit of the cheek into the eye. Now, I still think his temples are kind of wide, so I'm going to come in something. This looks like another number 7, just bigger, maybe a 1/2 inch, I guess. And I'll take in the temples. And the hat doesn't quite fit the face or the head, so I'm just going to bring it in on the sides. Trying to get all the tools without knocking the phone is an adventure in itself. It was not a tool, luckily. Now I'm just going to come down here and shape the brim a little bit. Something else I've also done is use these for practice for a bigger piece. Let's see. So these two guys here, he's got a grumpy face. He's a bigger grumpy face, kind of. And then I went to bottle stopper that I was working on and turned it into more of a grumpy guy. So again, it's just a matter of practice on the dollar piece before you get to the $5 piece. And if it's a full-size figure, a little bit more. So again, they can be throwaways, or they can be fridge magnets, Christmas ornaments, whatever you want to make them.
Hey, Pat, here's another question, and I'm not sure the answer. Maybe somebody else out there have the answer. Where can people buy soft V's now? I know at one point you could find the Denny's and the Ortels and Drake's, but I'm not sure who's making them these days or if there's any available.
I thought somebody had recently come out with a soft V besides Denny. but I cannot remember who it was. But I think somebody's got them out there. Nobody's chiming up.
Stubai has them.
Chris Willett.
Yeah, get a hold of Chris Wheelock. He's got 4 different sizes of the soft V.
And that's Whittling Shack, right?
Yes. Yep.
Thanks, Bruce.
You bet.
All right. So the ears, I'm just shaping them a little bit. Obviously, they're real thin out here. And you're not going to get a lot of detail on them, or in anything really that you're doing. You can see a lot of the rough cuts in here. Looks like Kraft cheese that I'm going to try and get rid of.
There's another question about your glove. Is that a carving glove or a regular glove just wrapped with tape?
It's a, well, you would know better than I because I got it from you. I got it from Lowe's, and it is a cut resistant glove, not necessarily a carving glove. What is it called? Klein Tools. And I've got a couple little holes in here that I was trying not to reuse. So I put the carving tape on it before I go to another trip to Lowe's to buy a new one.
Yeah, and I think you can get those 2 pair for like it's not very much, $10
Yeah.
or something. So
Yeah, and they're good, they're comfortable, and as opposed to at least for me, these have got a better grip on them. So I like them. All right, let's see. The eyes look awful. We'll try and clean them up just a little bit. And I'm going to try and tuck the lower lid under the upper lid. Got my little gouge here again. I'll come by at the end. Sort of take out under here. And you can put in a lower bag if you like.
Freddie Pace put in the chat there a few minutes ago that the carving glove guy had the soft V's in Charlotte. I'm not sure if he has a website, but you might be able to reach out to him if somebody's looking for one.
When you get towards the end, I like to find little places to add the shadows. Take a little triangle cut. And I'll be cleaning this up for about an hour after the show or an hour after the presentation, but normally there'd be a little indentation there. Clean this up a little bit and trying to give a little shadow in between the hair, the hat, and the side of the face. Let's see. For a lower lip, I just usually just come in, if I'm putting one in. Now you just got to reshape everything else that you just did for the last half hour. So now he's got a little bit of a goofy smile, his lower lip hanging out. You can put a little indentation there if you want. I really didn't go around and take off a lot of the saw marks earlier. Try and do that now. Oops, sorry about that. I was out of focus. I'm trying to get the brim here a little bit, so it looks semi like a brim. And I did have a small one here. So for the ears, I'm just going to do a triangle cut here. And another one down here on the side. Since it doesn't lend itself to a lot of detail, you just give the illusion of the ear hole. I don't know if that pops in or not. I'll do the same thing over here. Okay. See a little bit better on that side.
And when you make them into magnets, Pat, do you recess the magnet into the back? And do you
I
have
do.
a supply of magnets that you usually use, or how do you do that?
Amazon gets a lot of my money. Let's see. I think they're called earth magnets on Amazon, and they come with a whole bunch here. So I'll just put them on the back if it would stay there. Either if I got a Forstner bit with the hand drill, if I can get it in, if that works not too bad. Also, if I'm just lazy, what I've done for years was just pencil draw it and then gouge it out and put some 2-part epoxy in there. And I haven't had any complaints with the epoxy. I've used some Gorilla Glue early on, and even before I got them out of the house, the magnets were sticking to the refrigerator. So that experiment didn't last long. And let's see, I got a small V tool here for texture of the beard. And for this guy, just a bunch of lines work, taking up with the V tool. You can do them straight or, random cuts. And we've all seen how some guys do different things, and depending on who does it, it looks great. Let me try that. And I have varied success with different things that other guys do. Just trying to make your cuts to include underneath here. Make sure you get them under the mustache.
Question about gluing. Have you tried super glue, Pat?
I haven't. No, I usually save that for when I cut myself. And just don't forget to do this. And also don't forget to sign and date it on the back. If for no other reason, you want to know when you carved it. So this is kind of rough. I'll go back and clean it up. But we've got the general. Where's the original guy? I got so many things up here. Oh, it's right here in front of my face. So like I said, he started from a 2x2x4 block of wood, cut in half, and take a pencil, put your eyeball in, and even just that little bit gives him a little bit more personality. Put in some eyebrow cuts. There's probably about 10 things I missed on this, but you got the general idea. And the main thing is just have fun with it. It's inexpensive. It's a great way to experiment. Even if it's not what you want, and I get them plenty myself. Like Dave said, you learn from it, and you incorporate your lessons learned into the next one. So,
Hey, Pat, another question in the chat.
Sure.
From there, what are the steps that you take to prepare for painting, and then what paint do you use? So do you wash it? Some people do that. Some people dip it in boiled linseed oil.
I use I usually don't wash it, because by the time it's painted an antique, that's usually pretty well covered up or dirty anyway. I use the Minwax 209 as a base. It's tinted with about an inch of I think that one's raw sienna, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And done up, and then I just paint them with regular acrylic paints, really watered down. I don't have a formula of water to paint drop, so I just put a dab of paint on my palette, put down some water, and draw it out. But basically, you can see through the paint. I'll let it dry overnight. I'll seal it a bunch of times, and like I said, I'll get you the sealer that I'm using now, but it's out of Walmart. It's about $5 or $6. And then once that, I do about 6 coats of sealing it, and from there I'll antique it. My antiquing these days, like I said, this last batch was the water-based gel stain that I got from Hobby Lobby, mixed with a little bit of water, and just put on. Really, just lather it on and then wipe it off the high spots. I've done the other one is Howard's Feed and Wax, and put a little bit of burnt dumper oil paint, artist oil paint in that, and mix that up to taste, whether you wanted a light one or a dark one. And again, seal it 6 or 7 times, and hit the high spots, take it off that, leave it in the lows. And I always go back every time I see a Chris Hammock carving. I'm always impressed, and I always give turd polish another try, and I always screw it up. So some have come out better than others, but for me, I've had varied success with his turd polish. So I always go back to something maybe a little bit more forgiving for me. But the two that I'm getting to now are this walnut gel stain, water-based gel stain, and the Howard's Feed and Wax, which is tinted. Those are the two that I'm using these days. And then that's it. Once those two, the last coat is on, I just leave it alone. I don't even hit it with the deft or anything after.
Pat, your turd polish problem is it you're not trying to polish a turd? You got some decent carvings there.
I don't know. You've seen some of my stuff, Dave.
No, your stuff's looking pretty good, buddy.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, if you got a turd, then try that polish, but otherwise,
Yeah, I've done your stuff too. The other thing I've done is Dave's a big proponent of not using antique and just shading, using either a black, or I think he has a dark plum that he uses. There's a great video out on YouTube. I think it's Mike Pounders put out a couple of years ago. And someone had just asked about it recently this weekend, about shading. And I thought that was fantastic. And I've used that in the past, but it's time consuming just as much as anything else. So you just got to find what you like and what works for you. And it really is just a matter of taste, what you like. There's no right or wrong answer on it.
And just to help in the chat there, Pat, explain what turd polish is. It's a mixture of waxes, right?
Yeah, he uses aged oak minwax, mineral spirits, and you get that down to a ketchup consistency. So the aged oak comes out as a paste. It's a gel. You put a little bit of minwax in, and you want it to be about the consistency of ketchup. You wipe it on, and you wipe it off, and you're using mineral spirits to wipe it off. Not necessarily all over. It comes off all the high spots like all the other antiquing, but down deep in the eyes, or if you got some pooling somewhere, you take a Q-tip with a little bit of mineral spirits and you'll take that out. And for me, what I've done is I've taken off my lacquer coats, sealer coats, and gotten down to the paint at times, trying to get the turd polish out. So it's, again, it's probably user error. And I'll have to get a class with Chris one-on-one sometime to work it out. But I'm always impressed with his antiquing.
And Chris is on here today, so he knows that we're talking about him. Joe McMullen said it's a mixture of hope and prayer.
Probably not wrong.
Yeah, right. Any other questions in the chat for Pat today? All right, Pat.
All right.
Well, I appreciate you coming on. If you'll notice here in the background, I had some computer issues there. The echoing and stuff was my iPad going out, so now I'm just on my laptop, so I apologize for that. But I want to say thanks for coming in today, Pat, and sharing, and it's always a joy to see what you're working on. I go out on Pinterest a lot and see your pieces out there, and so if you haven't had a chance to go out and do that, make sure you try to do that, and check out Pat's work. It's really fantastic. I want to remind you all again, our next meeting will be on November the 23rd. Tom Parr will be on with us from the United Kingdom. Chris Brickle will be on the 30th of November. Just want to say thank you all for coming in and supporting us, supporting the International Association of Woodcarvers. The auctions that we do each week or every so often go to help us continue these meetings, and we couldn't have the meetings without the funding that we get from selling knives and things to be able to pay for this Zoom subscription. So thank you all who have contributed to that, and we look forward to seeing you all in the next meeting. This has been the International Association of Woodcarvers, where woodcarvers is helping woodcarvers. We'll see you all on the 23rd. Thank you all. Just like that. That's all you got to do.
All right, cool.
Let me get it stopped here.